All right, guys, a lot of y'all have asked for a home tour. Well, here is the entire house. If you were in the market for a house, would you buy it? All right, we're starting with the entryway. I built these huge built-in cabinets, mostly to house the litter box on the right side, which is the main reason they are so deep. It had to be deep enough for the litter box that we had at the time, which is why I built them from scratch instead of buying pre-made cabinets. I even built the doors myself. And spoiler alert, we don't use that for the litter box anymore because we found an auto one and it is way too big for this cabinet. So there's that. But that's okay because the auto one is amazing and it's a game changer for being a cat parent. But seriously, I love our entryway so much, and we did end up moving that chandelier over to the right a little bit. That way it fit the space better and we're able to open that top right cabinet. And then right next to the entryway is our office, or I guess some people use it as a formal dining room. But we actually ended up turning it into a man cave. I laid some flooring and then ended up having to take it out because we decided to add cabinets to the back, and since this is floating flooring, you can't have the cabinets sitting on top of the floors. So once we got those cabinets installed, I reinstalled the floors, and then we used joint compound to cover all the texture on the wall, and then I'm using paint mixed with joint compound in order to make this look like a faux Roman clay. But since we were going for more of a rustic look in here, we decided to add these faux beams. These things are amazing. They're foam, so they're super lightweight, maybe like 5 or 10 pounds per beam. I also reframed the windows because I was not a fan of those plantation shutters. And this is where we are today with the man cave, and I think it turned out so good. That faux Roman clay really gives it a really nice look and a fun texture, and I did the ceiling and the walls. That was a lot of work, let me tell you. And then also right past this entryway is our coat closet, or was our coat closet before I tore the whole thing apart and then rebuilt it into a cat litter box area on the bottom. You can see her little door in the back of that so she can enter the closet from the laundry room. And you see that still shelf we're adding? Well, that is for a saltwater aquarium. But if we add a saltwater aquarium, of course we're gonna have to get to it from the back as well. So yeah, we cut into the drywall and removed a stud and then framed that area out and added a door, and my husband could not wait to get that saltwater aquarium set up. We even separated the top of that area and added some storage above it. So the middle part is completely separate and watertight from the top. And there's Ellie's little cute cat door. I even reframed it like the rest of our doors. Now the plan for the front is to make it look like a built-in armoire, and you can see how helpful my husband is right here. Now instead of this being one big door on the front, I wanted them separate, so I added some faux drawer fronts on the bottom, and then on the top is a separate door. That way every time we change the litter box we didn't have to open the fish tank part. And I did end up adding some cabinet handles to it later. Now onto the next room is my kitchen. This one always gets a lot of attention. Y'all freaking love this room, and guess what? I do too. So you can see here that I extended those cabinets to the ceiling, and then I sanded everything down, cleaned it really good, primed and painted. And yes, we painted and epoxied the countertops too because I hated those brown Formica countertops. But sadly our epoxy has yellowed over time, so I'm gonna have to eventually replace those countertops. And I laid this stone backsplash. People either love it or hate it. Either way, that's okay because I really love it. And then I removed all the upper cabinets around my fridge and built all new ones. The one is kind of like a appliance garage, except the doors open to the side and tuck in, and I built my own cabinet doors using paint stir sticks. Can you believe that? And then it took me years to decide what I actually wanted to do with the pantry until one day it clicked. We removed all of the too deep builder grade shelving that were like 2 foot deep and things would just get lost in the back. And then I added cabinets with drawers on the bottom and then more shallow shelves up top. I also cut into the drywall and added some in-wall shelves for all the canned goods and spices and stuff. And a Murphy door for good measure. And then when we were adding that built-in aquarium, we found this hollow space behind our walls and decided to turn it into shelves. Because who's gonna say no to some extra kitchen storage? That would be insane. I built these doors too. I had some leftover beadboard and that's what I used for the center of them, and I love the way it turned out. I also built an expandable kitchen island so that way we'd have extra counter space if we needed it, but it can tuck away when we didn't. What do you think? Is this a huge improvement from the builder grade kitchen that we had before? In my opinion, I think so. Some people claim that I overgrouted the stone backsplash, but that's exactly the look I was going for. It's more of a German smear look. And the before and after of this angle gets me every time. I mean, again, can you believe those are paint stir sticks? Also, I used a different brand epoxy for the kitchen island countertop and it has not yellowed yet, so that's good news. Now, this is not the end of my home tour, but this is my current project we're working on now, so I don't have a pretty after for you. We decided to go with the all-in-one washer dryer combo, and I built cabinets around it, and it's turning out so good. Again, who doesn't want extra storage? This coming week, I'm going to build my own cabinet doors out of oak, and this laundry room should be pretty close to done. Next up is our guest bedroom. I had a lot of fun with this design because I had always wanted to do a board and batten wall, and this is the room I decided to experiment on and go pretty bold with it. For the board, I used brown board, and for the batten, I just used MDF. I got 4x8 sheets lights and cut those down myself, which was a huge pain, but I did save a lot of money. And here's what I mean by bold. I went with Shade Grown by Sherwin-Williams for the paint color, and I do not regret it at all, and it's been 3 or 4 years since I've done this room. Also, don't worry, that ceiling light is actually a fandelier. We live in Texas, we need fans here. And the next room is my daughter's room. We actually built her a loft bed several years ago, and she enjoyed it for about 3 years and then decided that she wanted a more grown-up room, so we tore it down, which apparently is very controversial and people think that she's spoiled, but she's a good kid and she doesn't ask for much. Next up is the hallway right outside of the guest room and my daughter's room. I wasn't really a fan of that basic boring drywall casing, so I ended up covering it with wood to make it look like beams, and I think it turned out perfect. This was actually one of my first projects that I was super nervous about messing up. And then I got some more brown board, I painted and stenciled it, and then we put it on the ceiling of that little hallway. Mostly to cover up that texture on the ceiling because I didn't want it showing. I could have probably skim coated it, but we went this way instead. But I think both options would have been difficult. I also added crown molding and picture frame molding so you can hang pictures from it. You see what I mean here? I'm here to tell you, don't neglect those little small spaces in your home because you can really bring them to life. And they're super fun and quick to do as well. I reframed all the doors, painted the trim, the doors, and the ceiling all accessible beige by Sherwin-Williams. We also added this pretty customized air intake cover. Oh, and we added those glass knobs to the whole house. I freaking love them. Now here's the one room in our house that I haven't touched at all aside from giving it a fresh coat of paint when we first moved in. And yuck, that was when I was into that boring gray color that everybody was going with at the time. Now on to the living room. I redid this fireplace right before Christmas in 2020 because I wanted it to be super pretty to hang stockings, and I just needed a little bit of happiness in my life back then. I also built this super cute little shelving unit, mostly from scrap wood that I had left over in my garage. Originally, I had covered that back wall in linen wallpaper, but ended up getting this peel and stick tile that was so pretty, so I replaced it a few years later. I also framed out the windows in this room, and this is what that fireplace looks like right now, but I kind of want to add stone like my backsplash eventually. This room is one of the coziest ones in my house, and I really love it. That shelving unit was supposed to be a bar, but we ended up turning it into a bookshelf. And then right next to the living room is the dining room. I reframed the door and the window and covered the bottom 2/3 of the wall in beadboard, and then I painted it all, including the door. I also added this fun wall treatment using stencil and joint compound. And while I love that old chandelier I chose, I replaced it with these 2 little pendant lights that I think really warm up the space. Oh, and I built that table as well. Also, I took our old blinds, cut them up, and turned them into this roller shade. Now, right next to the dining room is the master bedroom. I haven't done much with this room, but I do have big plans. I did reframe the windows though. I want to add some kind of molding to the walls in this room and a ceiling treatment. And if I can find a way to add some kind of faux fireplace in here, I'll do that too. Now, right past that master bedroom is the master bathroom. I first did a little mini makeover in here, which just was mainly paint, and then I ended up remodeling the entire thing. I mean, this room took me months. I even built my own barn door, and the last one we had ended up warping, so I made this one out of MDF because I knew the MDF wasn't going to warp. I removed the builder grade vanity and ended up building my own floating vanity. And yes, it's wood, but don't worry, I put like 5 coats of clear coat on there, so it'll be fine. I even made custom drawers so that way they'd go around the pipes for the sinks. And then I had this big blank wall in front of my toilet, so I made a little toilet paper cabinet for it. And this area used to be floating shelves, and I turned it into another built-in armoire. The problem with the open shelving in the bathroom is it just gets so messy, and I much prefer drawers. And then it was on to the shower. This was so much work. I don't recommend it. If you can afford to have it done professionally, just do it professionally. But we did save a lot of money, and I learned a lot in this project. And I even added a shaving niche. Tiling took me days. I used a Salish tile that was beautiful and rough, but it was supposed to be that way. I love the handmade look of it. Here's how everything turned out. I mean, builder grade is just so boring to me. If you like it, that's cool. It's just not my style at all. And that's one of my favorite parts about owning a house, is being able to customize it however you want. I'm a creative at heart, and me being able to get my creativity out in this house has really made my life so much better. And oh my god, those Cremone bolts on this cabinet are to die for. They're from Signature Hardware. And guess what? That is not glass on the front of that. It is like a greenhouse plastic material, and it looks like rated glass. It turned out pretty good. And then of course my favorite part is the shower. And then right past that bathroom is the master closet. We actually built that back wall 18 inches out from the back, so that way we'd have a hidden pew pew room. Also, these cabinets make it so much more organized in here. And then last but not least is the backyard. The patio part used to be so small, but we had a bunch of concrete poured, and we got a hot tub, and look at it now. It's this perfect space for hosting, especially for our yearly Friendsgiving, where we have like 30 or 40 people in our little 1,800 square foot house. So what do you think? Would you buy my house, and how much do you think it's worth?